Hello everybody and welcome to another Brawlmachine battle report. Today we have Mordikaar going up against Ravyn. So we got some Skorne versus Retribution. This isn't actually the first time we've had this matchup now that I'm thinking about it. We had a 75-point game with these two not super long ago. Card on the screen now if you're interested in that. But we're going again with a completely different list this time around. I'm running Disciples of Agony, and well, I mean, he's in the same theme because Defender's massive, but completely different units. And it was a pretty interesting game. This is a Mark III battle report, just to clarify for anyone who thought it might have been Mark IV. So I apologize for that if you were looking for more Mark IV content, but unfortunately, we don't have either of these armies in Mark IV yet, so this is a Mark III battle report, and we will be continuing to do Mark III battle reports for the most part, right up until the kind of main release of Mark IV, at which point we'll start transitioning. I don't know if it'll be an instant thing or if we'll do a bit of both for a while, but that is something that we're slowly going to be working on. And I am going to have another video where I kind of address this a little bit more, but I do just want to say thank you all so much for the crazy amount of support that the channel has been getting with Mark IV coming out. The new videos that I made about Mark IV, the Mark IV battle report, and the Mark IV kind of just breakdown from the announcement. The support on those has been absolutely unreal, so I just want to say thank you guys so much. And like I said, I'm going to have another video where I go into that a little more detailed, but yeah, I really appreciate seeing that kind of support. It's really amazing to see, so thank you guys so much. Without further ado, let's get into the lists.
So for this battle report, I chose Ravyn. She's a really fun caster, very mobile. She's got dual attack, quick, so she can make ranged and melee attacks, and then quick work. So when she destroys a model, and with melee attack, she can make a ranged attack. She also has sprint, so she can move after killing a model at the end of activation, and Swift Hunter, so when she destroys one or more models with a range attack, she can move too. So a lot of this just allows her to get out of activation movement, get more attacks, and just do range and melee in one combat action, which is really unique and cool in Brawl. Then she's got a PS13 Weapon Master Blade with Thresher, which is also just very impressive. For her spell list, she's got Countermeasure, which shuts down range attacks for models within 5 of a friendly model/unit. Energizer, which allows every model in the battle group to move 2. Open Fire allows a model in the battle group to make an additional range attack. Snipe, +4 range on a model/unit's range weapons, which is very useful. And Veil of Myths, which places an AoE cloud effect that gives units, while inside of it, Pathfinder and the ability to move past other models' bases. And her feat gives friendly faction models boosted range attack rolls and Swift Hunter, which is the one on her card, which is pretty useful. So for her battle group, I brought the Daemon. It's got like this mini Hellmouth gun. It also has reload 1, so it can make 2 of those attacks. So it just pushes everything within 2 of the model hit directly towards it. Then you place a 3-inch AoE, and every one inside of that takes a POW 12 damage roll. Can be useful for potential threat extension, but mainly just really good at clearing up infantry. Also has blessed weapons, so can get past armor buffs somewhat, but the base weapons aren't super strong. I also brought a Harpy. Just really like its gun. It's range 12, rate of fire 2, POW 13 gun with Thunderbolt, which is good for controlling scenario potentially. Just a really solidly statted gun. I also brought the Aspis, just as a shield guard in case I'm against a range list. Not much else to say about this Jack. It's got feedback, which can come up, and it's got some melee presence. For my solo, I brought Lanyssa Ryssal. She's got Hunter Mark, which gives me free charges against model/unit hit, and I gain +2 movement on that. Ice Bolt, which is just a POW 12 zap attack. Winter Storm can come up. Haven't really had this happen, but Any models that begin activation in her command range lose Isle of Sight, Flight, and Pathfinder. It's a bit short though because it's only 9 inches, so usually she'll die if she procs that. I then brought in Arcanist Mechanik as well. He's really good. He's got Empower, so he can give a focus point to a Warjack. And his other one is Concentrated Power, which gives +2 to melee damage rolls on a Warjack. And then obviously he's got the Repair ability. I also brought a Houseguard Thane. His main thing is he can give Houseguard units +2 movement during their normal movement, or Firing Solution, which gives a Houseguard unit the ability to ignore stealth. I just wanted some anti-stealth tech mainly, and Desperate Pace is just a good bonus as well, because I am bringing some range units. Then I brought a unit of Houseguard Halberdiers. They've got Shield Wall and Set Defense, as well as Practice Maneuvers. So they're kind of irritating to remove because underneath Shield Wall they get Armor 18, and then with Set Defense, any model that charges them, they basically go up to Defense 15. And then with their attachment, they just get a good turn of plus damage because they get +2, I think. Yeah, +2 to attack and damage rolls when targeting another model within a melee range of another model in the unit, which is just really good. Solid unit. Then I brought a unit of Stormfall Archers. These guys are interesting. They have these bows that are range 12, POW 12, AoE 3, but when they shoot, they get to choose what shot type they want to use. So they got Brutal Shot, which gives an additional die on damage. Snipe, so +4 range. And then Star Strike, which instead of dealing damage, causes any models within the AoE to catch on fire. So just a very versatile unit, and they've got good range. Just a really solid unit.
Alright, so for my list today, I decided to bring a bunch of things that I haven't tried before. Notably, Void Seer Mordikaar as my Warlock here. I ran this in the Disciples of Agony theme because I haven't really run that theme before, and there was a bunch of stuff that I wanted to try using. So for Mordikaar himself, he likes Void Spirits, he gives them Killing Spree. He's got a handful of other nice abilities here that don't really do too much most of the time, although Poltergeist is pretty handy if something's coming in to kill him. He's got a pretty decent gun, and he's Fury 7, but where he really excels is the back of his card here. So for his spell list, he has Essence Blast, which I think is one of my favorite spells in the game. This thing is super cool. You pick a living or undead friendly model in his control range. You kill them to make a spray 6 attack that is based off of their strength. This is super fun and can just lead to some really wacky things. Notably, you can use this on things like war beasts or just really hard-hitting infantry, and you can do it after they've taken their turn. So you can have a lot of versatility with a spell like this, and it's really cool. He's got Hollow, which is kind of just a soul collection thing. He's got Host of Shadows, which gives Ghostly. That's always a good ability to have. Manifest Void is interesting. It kind of does a couple things at the same time. It's spell reduction, I guess, and then also anti-soul for your opponent. So if you're going up against someone who likes souls, or I guess it's living non-faction models gain soulless, so I guess it's just denying your opponent souls that they would get off their own things. And then Revive, which is just, return a grunt to a unit, they lose combat. That's always a nice spell to have, although it is a little expensive, so you don't end up casting it too often. And then we go into his feat. His feat gives +3 defense and Poltergeist. Very simple, but very, very good. +3 defense is a great defense boost, and Poltergeist is really, really nice when you're going into things like Warjacks or Warbeasts that have multiple attacks. So that's just really good to have. Moving on to the battle group, I brought Aptimus Marketh. He was my requisition option here. Spell Slave and the best gun in the game, Spirit Eye. I don't think I need to say much more. Moving on from Marketh there, we have the Archidon. I really, really want this thing to work out for me at least once, so I keep bringing it. I think it's made it into every Skorne list I've made, and one day it will actually do the thing it's supposed to do. Will that day be today? Let's find out. But for those who are just joining the channel now, Historically, these things never work out for me. I don't think I've managed to get the lightning strike off once. So let's see how it goes here. But basically, for those who don't know what the Archidon does, it's fast, it jumps in, it kills things, and ideally, it lightning strikes out. Next, we have the Razor Worm. The Razor Worm I'm kind of treating as another Archidon. It's something that can go after the flag, so the Archidon doesn't have to. It's speed 6, it's got Dig In to help it get up the board. It's got Drag Below to RFP some warrior models. And yeah, it's a decent model. I never used it before, and I was really excited to try it. Spiny Growth is a fantastic Animus, and yeah, there's not much more to say about this one. It's a cool model. Lastly, I brought the Titan Gladiator. This thing is just kind of I needed a beat stick. Rush is a fantastic Animus, especially when you combine it with high-speed things like the Archidon. Moving on to solos, I brought the Void Spirit. The Void Spirit is something that Mordikaar really wants. He gives them Killing Spree, which is really, really cool. Other than that, they're just POW 12s and Court models, so they're great for sitting on flags. They have Void Walk, which is really, really cool, so they can kind of do that same sort of lightning strike thing where they're going to go in, kill something, and then get out. In this case, they're going to go in, go on a killing spree, and then get out, which is really, really cool. Poltergeist is handy, again, especially if you're going into something like a Warjack or a Warbeast. Not going to come up as often in this case, just because, you know, it's a solo. How often is a Warjack or a Warbeast dedicating to a solo like that? But might happen occasionally. And then Annihilator, which is pretty nice actually. Extra dice on attack and damage rolls is pretty good. So yeah, overall pretty decent model, especially at only 3 points. On to the infantry here. I brought 3 units today, which is a lot more than I usually do. Although all of them were minimum units if the option was available. So I brought the Nihilators. I have never brought these guys before, but basically they're POW 13 Berserkers. They actually don't mind hitting each other as much as they usually would. And then they have Rise, so if they get knocked down, they're cool with it. And then they've also got Tough. Their defensive stats are kind of awful, so they're very much so relying on Tough there. But when they get in, they do decent work. POW 13s are always good. Next, we have the Paingiver Beast Handlers. I don't think I really need to justify bringing these in the list. These are just always good. Being able to do strength buffs, being able to do healing, and being able to do fury management are all fantastic things. Prodding is just kind of icing on the cake there, being able to charge without being forced. These things are just good, and I had one of them kill a Warp Wolf once, so I'm going to bring them in every Skorne list I ever break. And lastly, we have the Bloodrunners here. The Bloodrunners are really, really interesting. I have never brought these guys before. But basically, they're either ambush or advanced deploy, which is pretty standard. For me, they're interesting just because I haven't brought an ambush unit before, like, ever. They have stealth. They're reasonably fast, although they're only a half-inch melee, which is pretty bad. Their POW is also really, really low, but they do have anatomical precision, so they can do some fancy things with that, as well as gang. And then Apparition, which is always nice to have. It gives them a little bit more of a threat extension there. They also have Repo 3, which is just kind of, you know, useful when it's useful, helps you get up the board. So that's it for my list. As I said, I'm running Disciples of Agony, but I don't think I'm actually using any of the theme benefits. I was pretty much just doing it for the requisition model. I guess, yeah, no, Sack Pawn for Minion Warrior models didn't come up because I didn't bring any Minion Warriors, and I didn't bring any Minion Warbeasts, notably because I don't really own any. So yeah, that was kind of the list there, and without further ado, let's get on to the battle report. Skorne, turn 1. Alright, so I run the roll to go first here, and I almost always choose to go first when the option's there. So right away I'm moving up the Desert Worm here. I think I just kind of run him into the forest here. I thought I had him within 3 inches, but I didn't, and it was bad enough that we didn't end up rules by intentioning it. But that's no big deal. You'll notice the Paingiver Bloodrunners are not on the screen right now. They're going to be ambushed, so they're going to be coming in next turn. So for here, I'm pretty much just moving things up. The Archidon ran up a little bit. I didn't want to move him too far to the point where he's being threatened by anything, so I just kind of hung him back a little bit. He's got the speed to kind of do whatever he feels like. So then I had the Void Spirit run into the trench there. That's what that model is. And then I think I just kind of, for the most part, everything's running here. I have Marketh run next. He's also running into the trench, just kind of in the general direction of the flag. The Nihilators are just going to start running, so they're going to all start moving up here, and I was being very, very cautious of the Daemon's gun. The Daemon's gun is absolutely brutal in infantry like that, so I was kind of just making sure I was out of range of it. And then, yeah, so I have those guys kind of just set themselves up over there. And then I do eventually end up like repositioning a bunch of those things because Reed realizes he gave me the incorrect threat because he forgot about open fire. But that's okay. Here I'm just moving up the rest of the infantry there. That was just the beast handlers, getting them into position. The Titan, I think, charged because if he rushes and charges, it's if I remember correctly, it's faster. Mordikaar then goes, and what he's doing is he's putting Hollow onto the Nihilators, give himself some souls. He's casting Manifest Void, and then he's charging up. So I didn't really expect Manifest Void to do much here, but and here's where I'm repositioning things because, like I said, we had a slight issue.
Retribution, turn 1. So right here, I'm just measuring up my range. I've actually got threat on a lot of stuff. This list threats pretty far. So I'm going to have the Stormfall Archers go first, and they are going to choose to snipe. And I'm taking pot shots at the solos here. I ended up missing the Nihilator. Yeah, there's me rolling. It's in the trench, so not good odds. Then I think I just repo them back. Nothing really happened there. But may as well get some use out of them since they got repo. They're pretty safe. I'm just working out order of activations here. Here I'm just moving up the Warjacks since I know what I want them to do. None of them are really in range. Then I'm going to have the Harpy going, and he's going to be shooting at Aptimus Marketh, I believe. Boost the first one, hit. I do some damage, and I Thunderbolt him out. And I also crit there, so he's going to be knocked down, which is pretty nice. So he's going to be kind of useless on the next turn. Then I'm going to have Lanyssa go. She's going to just try to Ice Bolt the Razorworm. Ice didn't have anything else to really do with her, and again, she's relatively safe doing this because she's got repo. So just looking at her stats here, I roll and I end up missing, and she just repos back, so nothing really came of that. Then I'm moving up the Halberdiers. They're mainly just there to threat the zone. I don't really need to push too far here since I am going second. They're going to move up in Shield Wall, do the 3-inch Shield Wall ability move, then do another 3 inches off repo, and then I'm going to have the Demon go behind him.
Skorne, turn 2. Alright, so the Bloodrunners have been ambushed. They're just off screen right now. They're on the lower end of the screen there. So the first thing I'm doing is Marketh is standing up and just walking to the flag. That's kind of the best he can do at this point. Thankfully, he was still within range to do that after being thunderbolted. And now I'm kind of figuring out what I'm doing with my infantry here. So the Nihilators, the plan with them was basically I'm going to run them up into the zone to kind of spread out and cover the zone. But I also specifically wanted to have one within 3 inches of a good spray location for what I'll be doing in a second here. So I activate Mordikaar, and Mordikaar is going to revive one of the dead ones there. He's just going to kind of line him up so he can get a spray 6 onto as many guys as possible, and Reed's just double checking the rule in there, make sure I can actually do what I'm trying to do here. And we agree it's all good, so I revive a guy over there, and we decide that I can get 4 of them. So 4 of the Halberdiers are about to be hit by Marketh's Essence Blast, or whatever it was called, the super cool spell on his card. So there we're just lining up the spray template, making sure the angles all work out okay. And eventually we settle on the 4. So I'm going to start rolling those out in a second here. And any second now, of course. Maybe I should have cut this part. Yeah, so we're going to start rolling those out, and I needed 6s to hit. So I don't know what's taking me so long here. I think maybe we were still discussing the rolling on it. There we go. I finally make the cut there. And The first one here I'm going to roll out is actually going to hit and successfully kill, which is great. Second one unfortunately misses. The third one here hits, and then I go to damage and unfortunately fail to crack armor. And then the final one, maybe I rolled it off screen there, but it misses unfortunately. So I only got 1 out of 4. Next, the Archidon is going to charge one of his Halberdiers here. I really need to clean up some of these guys because I did not kill enough with the spray there. So I'm doing the thing. I hit, I kill, I lightning strike, and for the first time, it worked. So then I decide, you know what would be funny? I'm going to put this thing in Lanysa's face, and she can just deal with it. Because he doesn't really have the resources to allocate over to that side of the board right now. So I thought it would be funny, and I am proud of it. So next I have the Desert Worm just kind of move up and dig in. I'd been threatening the flag so much that he basically just stayed away from it, so the Desert Worm didn't really get to do much here. I have my Titan move up, and I think the rest of the turn is pretty much just moving things up. I'm going to have the Beast Handlers move up in a second here, which is what they're doing exactly now. I had the Void Spirit kind of run to the middle of the zone there. I was kind of just relying on Incorp to keep him alive. And then the Bloodrunners, they're just going to run up into the forest there.
Turn 2. So I decided to defeat with Ravyn this turn. It's right before lines are engaged, so it's most output I can get on my force. I've got the Bloodrunners in the forest there, so I also have to keep them in mind when positioning my back line. I end up dropping countermeasures, but I do upkeep Snipe on the Harpy, I believe. And now I'm just figuring out what I want Ravyn to do. So I end up deciding to shoot at an Annihilator in the forest. We originally think I miss, but then we realized he's outside of Mordikaar's control range, so he doesn't get the defense buff. So we'll take that back later, but he ends up getting removed. He also does the dodge thing there, but again, doesn't end up mattering. Okay, now I'm going to have the Harpy go. And he's going to aim, shoot at Marketh. He hits, and he kills. Then I'm going to have the Stormfall Archers go. They're all going to aim. I'm going to use them to hopefully take out some Bloodrunners and then take out a couple of Annihilators in front. First one hits. Kills it. Then Swift Hunters. Then I'm shooting up an Annihilator there. Misses. Second guy, I believe, hits. Yep, there's a tough roll. He doesn't tough, so gets killed. And then the last one is shooting at the Annihilator, I believe, but he ends up missing, so it doesn't matter. Then they repo away. Then I'm going to have the Demon go. And right here, I believe he's shooting his Hellmouth Blast. He hits the Gladiator. He removes all the models around it, so a lot of Beast Handlers and I think Annihilator. And does some blows up the damage roll somewhat on the against the Gladiator, so pretty good there too. And I think here he does a second shot, but just as a bit more chip. Then I'm going to have the Houseguard Halberdiers go. They're going to mini feat and charge. Most of them into the Gladiator, one into like one of the last members of the Annihilator unit. And I roll here just for hits. I'm just doing them all at once to make it easy, since they don't have any other targets, and pretty much all of them hit, since they are essentially, I believe, Nat 8 with the +2. And they just absolutely chunk the Gladiator here, kill him in like 3 of the hits. And then I'm going to roll the last guy against Annihilator. Oh no, sorry, he ran so he couldn't. But yeah, no, he's just engaging it. right here, I'm just moving up the Aspis just a body block.
Skorne Turn 3. Okay, so at this point in the game, there's only really a couple ways that this can go. I'm debating here between Assassination or go for Objective. I don't think either of them are particularly high odds here. That was just my Apparition moves with those guys, just kind of moving them up a little bit so they can jam up more if they need to. Still not 100% sure what I'm doing with them. And then for the rest of my stuff here, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out the perfect way to take every single model out of that zone and destroy his objective and score both zones. Which obviously is not an easy task. Basically, the Beast Handlers and the Nihilator have to do some work, so here I'm kind of proxy basing how many can the Nihilator get, because he's got Berserk, and then I need one of the Beast Handlers to give +2 strength to my Razor Worm, because my Razor Worm needs to do a good chunk into the Chimera and also kill a Halberdier. So everything pretty much here needs to pull their own weight. I have the allowance of maybe one miss. So I moved the Beast Handlers first, and the first Beast Handler into one of the Halberdiers here. I rolled out in a second, and right here it unfortunately misses, which is pretty bad. I've already used my one miss. The second one, thankfully, does succeed and manages to take one off the board. I don't know why I rolled 3 dice there. And then the third one just gave the +2 strength, like I said. So then... Oh, maybe there was 4 of them. That actually would explain why I rolled 3 sets of dice there. No, one of them died. Anyways, the Nihilator now, he's going to go and start smacking into these Halberdiers here. So he gets, I think, 2 or 3 of them in his Berserk attacks here. And, of course, the first one misses. So at that point, I'm pretty much ready to scoop. So here I'm just kind of showing what the plan was. The Desert Worm was going to try and take out both of those. Obviously, I wasn't expecting him to kill the Aspis by himself. I had said Chimera earlier. So then the Archidon was going to go finish it off. And then Reed reminds me that I do still have an Assassination play. So I'm like, yeah, you know what? We'll play it out. I don't think it's going to happen. So I run the Bloodrunners. One of them gets a charge line into his caster. The other one runs to give gang. The other ones just kind of move, kind of gumming things up, but also kind of being in position to do some spray stuff. We are going to kind of just completely screw order of activation here. Technically what I did here was illegal because I really didn't expect this to actually work, so we were kind of mostly doing this as a theory. So the one that charges in ends up doing something like 4 damage. He chooses not to spend his fury to reduce it, which makes a lot of sense, or his focus rather. And then the other ones don't actually mean anything here. So now I'm Essence Blasting basically to try and take him out. So... and this is where we kind of fudge order of activation a little bit, because the first one Essence Blasts and he spends the focus, and I end up doing 1 damage because of the focus. So then I have the Archidon fly in, and of course I Essence Blast off of the Archidon, and I hit, and I have the focus to boost this as well. So I boost the damage, and I end up severely spiking damage on this. We'll see it roll in a second here. I think it's this die roll right there, where I think that's like two 6s and a 3 or something like that. I couldn't really see the dice, but it was a big spike. So I guess I'll take that. I'll include our post game discussion after this here, but that was that battle report. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Mordikaar's an interesting caster for sure. I like some of the plays. Like I like how versatile Essence Blast is. That's just a really, really cool spell. The Archidon finally got to do the thing, which felt really, really good. But overall, honestly, I wasn't a big fan of that game. The game had been pretty bad for me from the start. And then, the win at the end kind of felt very undeserved. And like technically, you could also say that because we had kind of stopped playing the game properly at that point, we were fudging order of activation and such, that it doesn't even really count as a win. At that point, I think it wasn't a deserved win anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Neither of us really felt good about the way that game ended. So yeah, here's our post-game thoughts though, coming up right after this. So hope you guys enjoy those, and until next time, peace. I thank you for reminding me I had an assassination angle.
Yeah.
Because, yeah,
Yep.
That shouldn't have worked.
No, it does.
That shouldn't have worked.
That's why you don't count out assassination ever.
Yeah, I guess. I was kind of like, oh, Nihilator's not going to be useful. I also kill my own Archidon doing that, so that's good.
Yep. No, it's always a thing.
God, yeah. I mean, that game was utter garbage, and that does not feel like a deserved victory, but I guess I'll take it.
Yep. So, like, you don't do that before conceding. Like,
Yeah.
You always do it first.
I mean, I almost conceded the turn before, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like, that game was really not going well for me.
This is my first actual good game at Dread. Not my first victory, my first actual good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like, that was not... I don't know.
Yeah.
That does not feel like a deserved win, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like either of the units I brought here very much.
That's fair.
I like the caster. That spell's super fun, and the realizing that it's a POW 15 spray off of an Archidon if I need it.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not bad. I mean, if I'd been going for that angle from the start, I might have even been able to get this guy in instead of one of these. Which, I mean, do you have movement for that? It's movement 12.
To be honest, you should have been going for this assassin.
Yeah, I could have got him in instead, which would have been... what's his strength? His strength 8, so that would have been, what, 3 higher? Yeah, 3 higher power, and one of them would have made better odds, but that's still not great.
Yeah. What I should have did was camp on more focus because I didn't.
Camping 2 would have been a big deal for them.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't need to snipe, to be honest. I don't think I needed that.
How much did I overkill by?
1.
1? Yeah, okay, so if you camped 1, even if I'd done the Razor thing,
Yeah.
you would have been alive at 1.
Yeah.
No, that was a dumb game.
Yeah.
I was getting slaughtered that entire game.
Yep. That's some of the scenarios I've been in. It's just like, well, fuck it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I normally really like Skorne, and I like that caster, I think. But I really don't like those units. Those were bad.
No, I told you.
Maybe I'm just playing them wrong. Maybe
They're just not.
people will yell at me in the comments that I'm terrible at Skorne and should never play it again, but...
No, those units are bad. I've looked at the LOS and stuff. They are not good.
Yeah. No, but that's... Well, now I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
That's why I think some units are just not...
The Archidon, for the first time ever, managed to Lightning Strike
Yeah.
off of a Halberdier, but you know,
It's still something.
it is something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought the scenario play was higher odds than the assassination, and I still think it might have been. That was not a great assassination.
I still think the assassination was hard because I don't think it was good odds that you hit everything and
Yeah, that was
the
issue
scenario
with
wasn't even like
The scenario allowed me 1 miss. That was it. It gave me 1 miss, and my my Warlock couldn't do.
focus. The assassination might have been the weaker one to do, but
Skorne.
yeah, because also I realized when I was allocating focus, I'm like, I forgot that it's boosted, not an additional die. So there's really no purpose in me giving them the extra.
Oh,
focus.
you gave right because you
Yeah.
said you even said the Harpy had an extra one that you just didn't need.
Yeah, I realized that afterwards because
Didn't you also like boost to kill the Void Spirit, which had 5 boxes and you were dice +1?
yes.
Yeah.
Like, man,
You were way overkill on that, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's because I didn't know the caster super well, and I'm like, I thought it was additional die because I thought there wouldn't be any reason not to. Just,
That makes sense.
yeah, because I'm like, why is this just boosted?
No, I don't know. See, that game represents everything I'm not a fan of in this game is my issue.
Yeah.
Because that was just like dice swung super hard in one direction.
Yep.
And then I came back because of a pretty low odds assassination out of the blue that would have been really hard to predict.
Yeah, I mean, part of it was on me. I could have definitely kept it safer, but
You could have, but also like
it was relatively.
that was a
safe.
reasonably safe play you made. Like having a couple extra focus, yeah, that's totally on you. But also over allocating focus is like not like that's hard to get perfect. So
Yeah.
I mean, in that case, forgetting that it forgetting the way your thing works,
like
then that's a little on
So,
you. But you also shouldn't have been in that position in the first place.
No, because I'm like, do I need to boost the demon? Like, okay, I would have wanted the demon to have 3 focus, so I would have allocated that same. Harpies, on the other hand, no.
Yeah.
Harpy should not have had that much.
No,
It's utterly pointless.
Harpy probably shouldn't have had that much. That was probably
Because
true.
I only wanted to boost damage against the Poltergeist, really.
And you also didn't really need it against him.
It was just to ensure I killed it.
Yeah, like there was a chance. I'll give you that. But
I wanted to ensure I killed it, and I wanted to kill the swordsman, but the swordsman, it didn't matter.
the one model
like the
I was
soul,
happy
sorry.
with. Actually, I was really happy with the worm. The worm didn't do anything, but I loved it, and I'm gonna play it again.
Fair enough. You like a model?
I like the worm. The worm feels like it can do the same job as the Archidon, which means when you have them both, you don't need them both to just punch the flag.
Yeah.
To
be honest, I actually really enjoyed the Halberdiers. Like, that's out of the ones I played, like, I like them more than Rizzofast and Arloweir. Which feels odd.
I mean, that was a bit of a skewed game. Like,
It
I
was.
definitely should have killed one or two more of them on the spray.
But even then, it's like, Death 13, Armor 18 is not bad.
It's not a terrible stat line.
Yeah.
The
also
Depth
just-
13 is really nice.
Their threat range is also just ridiculous. And they're like,
Their threat range being good was that shocked me a little bit.
and the way they
like,
can do the, like, Shield Wall 3 and then Repo.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can, like, really just finick them around and they still get full armor.
No, those were good. Those performed this game. I don't know if they performed. Like, I think they performed better than they should
I
have.
was just shocked. That was my first good experience with Ret Infantry ever.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Well, it's funny because that's my first bad experience with Skorne Infantry.
Yeah.
I love the Immortals. I acknowledge they're not anything crazy most of the time, but I love the Immortals. It's the only Skorne Infantry I play. I mostly play Beasts, but yeah, no, that was a weird game. I didn't like that game very much.